of years, and so far no one has come up with irrefutable evidence the monster does or does not exist. Lockness lies in the shadow of the Monadleaf Mountains in the Highlands of Scotland. 24 miles long and a mile wide, it would engulf Mansfield, Mansfield Woodhouse, Warsop and Worksop, and still leave room to spare at either end. In places, it is known to be almost 1,000 feet deep. At its southwestern end stands Fort William with its memories of Bonnie Prince Charlie and the Jacobite risings of 1715 and 45, while at its other extremity is Inverness and the Moray Firth. With the Mansfield branch of the Nautilus Club, the Mansfield Chronicle Advertiser decides to sponsor a 20-man team, including 2 girls, to go hunting for Nessie. And so, a lot of intensive training begins at the Sutton sewing barns. The first recorded glimpse of the Loch Ness monster goes back to AD 565, when St. Columba, it is said, ordered her to refrain from eating a swimmer and was obeyed. Around 3,000 people of all ages claim to have seen Nessie since 1933. For in the early 30s, a new road on the north shore of the loch was opened, giving an almost uninterrupted view of the watery waste. The usual description is small head, long neck, broad body with humps, 4 flippers and a long tail with a rounded end. To go hunting a creature like this, training is of paramount importance, even for the highly trained. So, in January 1976, the team of highly experienced and well-trained divers from the local Nautilus Club assemble at Chad Car Park before leaving for Inverness and Loch Ness, and, who knows, Nessie herself. To see them off and wish them luck is the chairman of Mansfield District Council, Mr. Les Wright, and his lady. After a word with everyone taking part in the expedition and the required photographs having been taken, the convoy winds its way out of the Chad Car Park on the first stage of the 400-mile journey to Inverness. After an hour or so of driving, the party arrives at the Farm Diving Lodge on the northeast coast, where an overnight stop is made. Welcomed by the proprietress, Mrs. Isabel Powton, the lodge is a tastefully decorated guest house for men and women who go down into the sea in diving suits. Mr. Brian Powton shows and describes some of the objects on view that have been brought up from the seabed by divers from other clubs, and indeed some brought up and recovered by the Mansfield divers. Remains of the World War II aircraft recovered by divers is also on view. As one would expect of the diving lodge, this has all the tools the diver needs: compressors, air bottles, and a variety of gauges, including a comprehensively equipped workshop. After a good night's sleep and a hearty breakfast, the convoy of Nessie hunters journeys north through the beautiful city of Edinburgh. Over the fourth bridge after payment of the toll. A little further north and the scenery changes dramatically. Snow covers the hills and lowlands, making each driver proceed with a little more caution. One of many snowplows is passed, busily engaged in clearing the road to our destination, Inverness. Eventually, Inverness is reached, and surprisingly, the snow has been left behind. The last evening before the dive is spent at the hotel, where more photographs are taken, and with everyone in buoyant mood. Laughter and singing are obvious, and everyone is optimistic about diving into the murky depths of Lockness on the following morning. It's here the dive will be made. After arrival, the lock bank is a hive of activity, with equipment being unloaded and the first divers beginning to dress ready for the first plunge, the boat being inflated and just everything being checked. Those who believe in the existence of the Lockness monster, whether she is one animal or a whole family of them, tend to plant for a plesiosaurus, a reptile thought to have been extinct for 60 million years. As these creatures are known to have been inhabitants both of the sea and freshwater estuaries, it is thought possible that a number of them could have been stranded in Loch Ness when it was cut off from the sea by silting. In fact, it has been noted frequently just before a sighting that salmon and other fish in the loch show every sign of panic, and that there are many large underwater caves which could have sheltered Nessie when previously large abortive underwater searches have been underway. TV cameras are on hand to record the event, including the Chad's own film unit. If Nessie is sighted, the party is not going to be short of a camera. Chairman of Mansfield District Council, Mr. Les Wright, has also made the journey to Inverness as guests of the Mansfield Chronicle Advertiser. He's very interested in the diving paraphernalia each person carries. The boat is launched and the serious business of diving begins. While the first party goes out into the loch, other divers don their wetsuits ready for their turn. Chairman of the Mansfield branch of the Nautilus Club and leader of the expedition, Mr. Arthur Lambert, has done his job of organizing and training the divers well. Everyone shows confidence born out of being well led and experts of the job in hand, diving into the unknown, looking for the unknown. In this case has been the unwitting cause of at least one man changing his way of life, leaving job and rat race to live in a tent on the loch side in the hope of one day gaining the unmistakable close-up that will make her legitimate and respectable to all. Nessie has, since 1933, been allegedly caught by cameras, eyed by visitors, chased by a submariner, and most recently attacked with ASDIC and sought by space probe computer techniques, all aimed at getting her to come out of her shell, or whatever it is that plesiosaurus use on a clear day in the spotting season. A ripple of excitement is felt by everyone as one of the early divers brings a bone up from the dark depths of the loch. Could it be a bone from a monster long since dead? Who's to know, and indeed who cares? This Chad-sponsored expedition to Loch Ness is only interested in live and kicking monsters. search for Nessie produced nothing resembling a monster, but it did produce a feeling among many of the skeptics, including divers, that the deep, dark depths of Loch Ness hide something, that the divers experienced an eerie feeling underwater, not experienced when diving elsewhere. The consensus of opinion, there is definitely something there, if only we could have seen it.